Hey, frenemies. This week's 757 podcast is our playoff push episode. Welcome back, frenemies, episode 97. Ooh, getting closer and closer to 100.
Closer and closer.
And this week on the 757 podcast, we're talking about playoff push because you and I are trying to push into that top six.
Yeah.
And so we need some things to happen.
Yeah, for those of you not in our league, there is some craziness going on. So these are only projected records right now because of the Ravens-Pittsburgh game. So we're not
ridiculous.
We're not exactly sure what's going to happen with those. But if things stay true to what they are, we're looking at 4 teams tied at 9.5 wins because we do an extra half win for that top 6 scoring teams. And then we've got Chris with 9 wins, so that's only half a win out.
Yeah.
And then we have Tim, which would make, I think, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 teams all within a win and a half, which is what's up for grabs weekly. So if you get your head-to-head win and a top 6 scoring performance, then you can make that up. So all that being said, half the league can either be in the playoffs or out of the playoffs at this point. That's what we're looking at this coming week.
Yeah, and week 13, we're looking at some of the matchups here. I'm going to pull it back up on my phone, but the biggest one is you and Daniel.
Yeah, it's kind of a play-in game.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do this week on the podcast is I can't go through the scenarios at which, even though we're to 1 week and you think that would be simple enough, there's still too crazy many amount of scenarios. Nor do I want to do that to myself. If I mentally know all of these, it's going to hurt only more. So I'm just trying to avoid that. So what we're going to do is we'll kind of get some reaction from you guys, and then we'll react to what you guys said. So let's go ahead and start it off here. We're going to start with Daniel, and we'll see what Daniel has to say about his playoff push.
I would absolutely love to be in the playoffs this year, but I feel like it's not in my hands. I got to at least get the half win. Sean's team is on fire, and I need other people to lose and for me to at least get a half point. So I'm feeling pretty pessimistic, but I'm hoping Eckler can power me into the playoffs and back to the championship.
A lot of enthusiasm there for Daniel.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I don't know. Well, Eckler could be the difference for Daniel. I mean, obviously Miles Sanders. What did he have? Does he have Giovanni Bernard?
He has Gio. He's got both Samaje Perine and Gio and Mixon.
So Eckler coming back and being like full strength.
I said Samaje.
He did. Samaje is LaMichael, right?
No, it's Samaje.
It's Samaje. LaMichael's the Jets.
Second guess myself.
So yes, it's going to be a lot on Eckler, and he's still got Keenan Allen, but those other running backs are not going to help him. But if he
Miles
gets big,
Sanders, it's going to be a close game, I think. I think we're both going to be pushing that. I mean, fantasy this year, I can't predict anything, but right now I think it's got us projected at 51% me, 49% him. They're pretty bogus in their who they say is going to win on Sleeper, but I think it does illustrate that it's going to be close. And it's a play-in for both of us, like I just said before he mentioned everything. So
I mean, looking at Daniel, you got T.J. Hawkinson at tight end. He's still good. Keenan Allen.
That's the thing this week. I just don't want to lose T.J. Hawkinson, Deshaun Watson going off because we had, if you go back to the trades that our league's done, I traded T.J. Hawkinson and Deshaun Watson for Allen Robinson. So it could go either way. I mean, if Allen Robinson has a big game and he's the reason I win, that trade, got me in the playoffs. But
yeah, but when you have a Tyreek Hill and a Dalvin Cook on the other side and a Justin Herbert that just throws 50 times a game, you're going to be feeling pretty good in this matchup too. You got some wild cards like Michael Thomas.
It really could come down to Dalvin Cook. Is he fully healthy? Now he's going to play. This is what happened last year and why I actually lost first round in the playoffs. It was this same type of thing. He got injured, weren't sure if he was going to play, and then he's like, okay, I can go, and then basically it hurts Alexander Madison and him, and you can't really get much out of either.
That's true.
So if that ankle injury is hampering his burst and he, gets me another 5 or 7 points like he did this week, I don't think Tyreek's going to save me with another 50-point game. So.
Probably not. Well, let's go to the other Kalana, who's sitting at number 1 right now.
Hey, frenemies, this is David Kalana, the Reverend here. Thinking about the playoffs, I can't express how excited I am to actually maybe get a bye week this year. I've never been able to get in that situation, and I am excited because my team needs a bye week. Kyler's killing me with his hurt shoulder, and David Johnson has a concussion, and Ezekiel Elliott's not really sure if he's still playing football anymore. Anyway, I'm just excited about the opportunity, and I really feel like at this point all I can do is just pray for every one of my fantasy team players by name every day and pray that God would help them to reach their maximum potential for his glory. So that's my plan in the playoffs.
Oh, the Reverend using his Reverend powers, which is prayer, to try to win himself the championship. Is that allowed?
I don't know. That's kind of on the edge there. I think we're supposed to separate, church and fantasy.
Yeah, we definitely know he's checking his fantasy football lineup during church at the pulpit.
Yeah, he mentioned something about hopefully I get that bye. We'll tell you right now, David, you've clinched.
You clinched the bye week.
You've got yourself a bye week. It's been a rough couple weeks for David. Kyler Murray's shoulder injury. I mean, if he didn't mention it, that's kind of what I would have brought up. That's really could tank his team. He's been on the back of Murray's insane rushing production, and right now he's not running the ball, I think, because of that hurt shoulder. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we know how bad it is, so I'm a little afraid for David's team.
Yeah, his receivers can kind of help him out there. Yeah, running backs is definitely terrible for him right now, but his receivers, PPR production, it is what's helping him still win.
Yeah.
While Kyler Murray is not giving him the big numbers he expected to have. And let's go to this other guy named Mike.
Your twin.
Yeah, this guy.
I'm sure this will be nice and sassy, right?
Knowing him.
Sending my video here about my playoff chances of this whole race. It's pretty fun. There was 5 to 6 of us playing for the last 4 spots. Only the top 2 are pretty secure, no matter what, to be in the playoffs. I think they probably already clinched. My thing is, I just want to see Sean, Chris, and Ryan not make the playoffs this year. I think it's hilarious.
Last time he's on the podcast.
Guys that host our podcast show and give advice to the general public of America miss out on the playoffs in their league. It would be awesome. It might be a little mean-spirited, but I think it would be ironic at least. I mean, I like Sean. I'm a little indifferent about Chris. And Ryan, it's whatever. But I'm sitting at, the 6th position right now going into the last week. I'm playing Andy, I think, Soul Juice for the last spot. So win, and I should be in.
All right. I'll give it to you, the floor, your twin brother.
Yeah.
I told you there'd be some sass.
I'm a little indifferent with my brother as well, too. Yeah, winning he's in. Soul Juice just lost a huge piece in Will Fuller.
Yep.
Being suspended. So the matchup might favor Mike in this one as long as his team doesn't lay an egg. So he actually looks pretty good going into week 13 if, you get your standard production from both lineups.
Yeah.
Will Fuller was a huge piece, a big wild card to be a boomer bust guy on Andy's team who was riding a boom train all the way through.
A boom train.
A boom train. And Mike gets, he gets Adam Thielen back this week. Trying to look at the rest of his lineup here. Nick Chubb's still running really well. Hard thing is he loses Ronald Jones.
On bye.
On a bye. Robbie Anderson on a bye. So he's got to fill those spots there. If Brandon Ayuk comes off COVID, it could help out. So he's going to play a little bit off the waiver wire this week, which is kind of weird because you don't think this far into the year you're worrying about that. But there were a couple of teams like Tampa Bay and Carolina that will be on a bye. That's going to hurt a lot of guys' playoff lineups.
And I'll give you this fair warning, Mike. I don't think it's a win you're in right now. So just you got to win, and you got to win that extra half point at this point because you've got me and Chris coming for you.
Yeah, so while we were talking there, that Sean Daniel matchup will basically flip it, right?
Yep.
And whoever loses is completely out. And then Mike, me, and Morgan are playing 3 different, matchups there. Tim can still slide all the way too, but he probably has a higher percentage. Even if he slips, he'll be there somewhere.
Yeah.
Mike, you can only do what you can. Set up a lineup, get the dub, and hope you get that half win to secure it.
All right, I have to mention this because I just saw this. I know the points have probably changed because Daniel submitted this sheet before the last couple games that we played this week. Tim, I mean, I know you know this, but 1,218 points. That is the 11th most points in our league, and you're sitting up there at third place.
He's been
The luck that this man has had.
So lucky in matchups, squeaking out wins. I mean, that's what you do when Saquon Barkley goes out, right?
Jeez.
You go in there and you grind. You grind for the W's. It ain't pretty, but guess what? You got a W on the win chart, right? The win-loss chart, just keep adding to the W column, and that's what Tim did. It was all ugly, and when you look at it, like him and Leroy should be completely flip-flopped. But we do count those head-to-head.
So it's probably highly unlikely, but I'm also looking at these points. Sorry, Tim, you're actually, by 1 point, you're the 10th most points. I know you'll check that, but...
Oh, yeah, Ryan and Andy, yeah.
I'm looking at these points here, and I don't think I can lose getting this amount of points, but say somehow, the league goes crazy, and I score 40 more points than David this week, which I did this week. I will be the number one scoring team in the league and potentially not making the playoffs.
It could happen. I mean,
this is my fantasy life.
that's fantasy football, and shout out to the Turtle Man himself putting this whole spreadsheet together. It really allows us to see how crazy the season is, and week to week really matters.
Yeah.
Anything else there for the guys?
No, I don't think so. I mean, what we're going to do is, if you stay tuned after the end of when we sign off here, fortunately, we had some guys that are working. I asked probably too late. There'll be a couple more video submissions from our guys if you want to listen to what they had to say about their playoff pushes. We won't be able to react.
No.
But yeah, there'll be a couple more guys after we're done with the episode here.
All right, guys. Well, let's see how our playoff stuff ends up next week.
Good luck to my team and no one else's.
No one else's. Yes. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
It'll be a fun week.
Deuces, Tim.
So, my thoughts on this year's fantasy playoffs. Obviously, I see some trends that are happening right now that are both positive for the league and then negative for some other people. I will start with the person that I am most nervous about moving into the playoffs, and that's got to be Joe. Looking at his running back trio, it's pretty ridiculous. Then he's got some excellent wide receivers with higher upside there. We always joke that Joe is the guy that he gets to the playoffs and never finishes. I think this is the year that he finishes. Comparing him with some of the other top spots or top rosters in our league right now, like David. You got Zeke every week. You don't really know what's going to happen with him. There's a little bit more variability now with Kyler. It seems to hit a little bit of a slump here. Not really where you want. You talk about peaking at the right time in the playoffs. So I'm looking at who's peaking and who's dipping. Right now, Joe's got to be the one that everybody's eyeballing with the biggest level of concern. Evaluating some of the bottom level guys, some of the guys I'm kind of rooting against making it into the playoffs because I think they can make a difference. I look at Sean's roster. Obviously, that's a concern. If he makes it in, just the talent that he has on his roster, I've absolutely loved watching his team just generally underperform this year. To have him right on the cusp again to maybe miss the playoffs, I think is outstanding. The biggest surprise of the year is just how well Morgan's team has looked. We all noted that it looked like he actually prepared this year for the draft. I'm thrilled to see him in the playoffs. I hope he is able to make some noise there. Obviously, I hope he doesn't take me out of it in the meantime. Hopefully, I can capitalize on a buckless Ryan Mecca's team, man of the people over there. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I talked about peaking at the right time. I think I peaked in the first 3 weeks, and it's just been downhill since then. I've managed to win a couple close games here and there, but I think I'll be an early exit, so not too much concerning from me. But this year, I'm excited. I hope to see a Joe David Super Bowl matchup, and I think Joe will edge it out. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what everybody else thought.
All right, this is Morgan from the 69ers. The season has sort of been like, you look at the stats and the results, and I have no idea how my team got to where they got to. But I'm excited and terrified at the same time. A lot of good competitors. It's exciting. So many people in the run. this week is like the week where we will really find out. Like, I don't know. I'm excited and terrified at the same time. Like I said, looking forward to the matchups. Of course, I'm playing David, which I'm terrified. His team has done amazing this year, but hopefully he has a terrible week like last week against Sean, and I can get the victory. So we'll see. Excited for it. I'd say go 69ers.
Joe, come on, you Irons. I'm in second. I'm feeling pretty good about my playoff chances, especially since it looks like, barring some form of miracle by somebody that's doing more than Tyreek Hill did this week, I should wrap up the second bye, which is really helpful since next week the Panthers are on a bye, so several of my players are out. But having McCaffrey and Carson both back and healthy hopefully is going to push me with a good chance of winning. So it'd be nice to have those two guys back when I haven't had them healthy most of the year. But we'll see how it goes. Josh Allen has some tough matchups, but feeling pretty good overall.
Hey babe, tell me about your fantasy football playoffs.
I don't want to talk about our playoffs, but what I will do is I will congratulate everybody that made it. You guys have scratched and scraped your way to the playoffs in a crazy year where your game could be postponed for multiple weeks on end. You guys have scoured the waivers, traded your players away to get better ones. So good job to you for making it to the playoffs. From a lowly bottom tour over here, good job.